Problem 1 is a U-try following the example given in example 1. And as I mentioned in class, the solutions are actually provided for you on this sheet. These videos are just to help add to your understanding or remind you of how to do some of these problems verbally. So, the first thing we need to notice is the angle relationship. What is our angle relationship between the two angles that actually have either an angle measurement or an expression angle measurement? And we know that these two angles are vertical angles. And our definition of vertical angles told us that vertical angles are congruent. Since they are congruent, that means they are equal. So I can write a statement in which I set these two angles equal to each other. 50 equals 6x plus 2. Now I want to subtract 2 from both sides of the equation, and 48 will equal 6x. When we divide both sides by 6, our value of x is 8. Since the problem asked us to solve for x, that's all we needed to do. Problem 2 was identical. I'm not going to solve this one for you, but I will go ahead and remind you of how to set it up. Again, we have vertical angles. DOG is a vertical angle to MOP. So 3x minus 6 is equal to 165. You should be able to solve for x now. Example 2 is utilizing expressions with supplementary angles. Supplementary angles, we know by definition, are two angles whose sums add up to 180 degrees. Since I know from problem 3 here that these two sums need to add up to 180 degrees, I will simply add their expressions and set them equal to 180 degrees. So 2x plus 6x plus 20 equals 180 degrees. Now I'll combine my like terms. 2x and 6x is 8x plus 20 equals 180. Now we simply have a two-step equation. We subtract 20 from both sides. And we divide both sides by 8. So our value of x is 20. The problem only asked for us to solve for x, but now that we know a value of x, technically we could go ahead and find the measure of each angle. 2 times x, well, we know x is 20, so 2 times 20 is 40 degrees. So FAR would be 40 degrees. Problem 4 is a complementary angle, solved the exact same way. The only difference is, since it's complementary, we set it equal to 90 degrees because we know these two angles, when added together, need to equal 90 degrees. So x minus 10 plus 2x plus 10 is equal to 90 degrees. I'm going to let you combine like terms and solve this one on your own. Again, the solution is at the bottom. Problem number 5. Problem number 5 asks for you to solve for x again, except this time we're given an angle measure, and you're told that GYE is 40 degrees. Now, yes, I realize that the actual given angle is not 40 degrees. And that's because I don't want you to get into the habit of guessing at values simply by looking at the angle and thinking you know the answer. I want you to truly have to take these numbers, plug them in with the expressions, and be able to articulate the values of the angles algebraically. So, in this case, we're told that GYE is 40 degrees. We are solving for x, so I would say that 2x plus 15, which is the measure of these two angles added together, makes GYE has got to equal 40. So now I can subtract 15 from both sides. And divide by 2. Problem number 6 is done the same way. The only difference is problem 6 has two expressions that we will need to add together. And in this instance, these two expressions, which come from the two angles, need to add up to 100 degrees, because BAH is 100 degrees. And again, you can combine like terms and solve for your value of x. These last three problems, the answers were not given to you. I will give you your answers and your solution, and I'm going to show you the setup real quick. So we have a complementary angle because the two angles together add up to 90 degrees. So 3x plus 14 plus 2x minus 19 is equal to 90 degrees because complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. Combine your like terms and solve for the value of x. Number 8, we have two adjacent angles. We are told that CAB is 160 degrees, so these two angles, when added together, need to equal 160 degrees. So we simply add the values of the expressions. 5x plus 24 plus negative x plus 40 is going to equal 160 degrees. Combine our like terms and then solve the two-step equation. Number 9. Here we have a pair of vertical angles. And we know that vertical angles are always congruent, so we could say that 4x minus 18 is equal to 100. Now again, we have a two-step equation. You simply solve for the x value, and we will check your answers tomorrow in class.